Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this Bay County Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 at 4 o'clock p.m. to order. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Nemec? Here. Begic? Beeson?
Yes.
Rupp?
Here.
Dockett?
Here.
Freet?
Here.
Benajia?
Here. Thank you, everyone. Please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Almighty God, we ask that you will guide and give leadership to every member of this Board of Commissioners, and we ask that you will give them knowledge and understanding so that the decisions made today and always will benefit every citizen of this community. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there a motion for the minutes of 6/17?
So moved. Support.
Is there any corrections? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries. I need a motion for the agenda approval.
So moved. Support.
Is there any corrections? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries. At this time, let's for citizens' input. Is there anyone wishing to address this commission? Please come forward. Going once, going twice. Citizen input is closed at this time. Okay, petitions and communications. We have our first one, presentation of the 2024 Bay County Audit. We have Weidman Robson here. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm Doug Dieter with Raymond, and I was the principal in charge of the county's audit this year, as I have been for the last several years. We issued our audit reports at the end of June, and I'm here just to present, give you a high-level overview of what's in those audit reports. There is a PowerPoint up on the screen. Each of you look like you have a printed copy of that. That's just going to kind of summarize our reports. If there's anything specific you want to look at in any of the reports, I'm happy to do that. There are page references at the top of each slide to give you a reference of what page the information comes from if you want some more information related to that slide. So I'll start off with, we issued what's called an unmodified opinion. Okay, this means the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with accounting principles. It's basically a clean opinion. It's the highest level of assurance independent auditors can provide. And it's the same opinion the county has received over the years. Well, that's touchy. There we go. So we're going to start, next slide is going to look at what's called the balance sheet for the county's general fund. The balance sheet includes all the assets, liabilities, and fund balance as of December 31st, 2024. First section, total assets of $30,556,000. Most of that is in your cash and investments of about $20.6 million. Some receivables, so some things that were earned but not collected as of year end, about $7.5 million. Then you have some other miscellaneous assets of $2.3 million. So very similar to what it was in the previous year if you were to compare year to year. So no major changes there. Liabilities are items that were incurred by the county before year end but not paid until after year end. You have your normal trade accounts payable, the first line of about $943,000. And then you have your other liabilities of $4.8 million. This includes accrued payroll, accrued benefits, various things like that. And again, these numbers are very similar to what they were at the end of 2023, so no significant changes. There's some things called deferred inflow of resources related to leases and other long-term receivables. What this means is you can't recognize the revenue for those until it's available to be used and spent by a general fund. So it's kind of a holding account until it becomes available because they're long-term in nature. The difference, or what's left over, is your fund balance, which is kind of the equity of the county. It's broken down into 5 different categories. Total fund balance at the end of the year was $23.5 million. You have your non-spendable of about $508,000. So what this is you have some items up in the asset section that the money has already gone out the door. So like prepaid items where you paid for something ahead of time. Inventory, you've already spent the money and have bought the inventory. So it's not available for future spending at this point. So it's kind of segregated. Restricted, about $154,000. This means that there's some cash that the county has that has some external third-party restrictions on it and how it can be spent. So that's $154,000. Committed of $7.3 million. This is the same as it was or similar to previous year, and that's the board or the county puts together some ideas of where they think the money is going to be spent, and it's more of an official motion that sets that money aside, so that's considered committed. And then there's the assigned category. This is $3.9 million. This is just kind of an idea where the money might go, right? We have an idea, we have a plan for it, but it's not an official commitment, so that's called assigned. And then what's left over is the unassigned that hasn't really been given a purpose yet of $11.6 million, and that will be used to fund next year's budget. The next slide is the general fund revenue and transfers in for the year. The pie chart in the top gives you a little pictorial view of where the money came from. At the bottom, we show the main revenue streams for each item. It has the 2024 budget, where you actually ended for the year, and then compare it to 2023 actual. So your largest revenue source, as it is for most counties, is your property taxes. You had budgeted $18.4 million and received $19.6 million. Up a little over $1 million from the prior year. That's basically just increase in taxable value that increases the property taxes that you receive. Federal revenue, budget of $3.6 million, actual was just under 2.8 compared to 4.1 in the prior year. In 2023, the county took $2.1 million in ARPA funds and put it towards revenue replacement in the general fund, so that's why you see the decrease in federal revenue this year. That did not happen again this year. Your state revenue, budget of 7.1, actual came in at 7.7, similar to the previous year. Charges for services, 3.7 budget compared to 3.2 actual. Again, very similar to the previous year. And then you have your other revenues that are made up of many different categories that, again, also stayed pretty consistent with the previous year. Your transfers in, this is where there's money that comes into other funds that gets transferred into the general fund for their operations. Budgeted $4.5 million, and actual came in at just a little bit more than that, at $4,544,000. So total revenues to the county were $45.2 million. General fund expenditures and transfers out, same type of information, broken down by the major functions of the county. Largest category this year is your general government, budgeted $14.1 million and spent $12.7 million. And it's up almost $2 million from 2023. Couple different things happened there. There's some building improvements that were done that were in that category, about $850,000. There is a reserve or a liability set up that hit the expense account for foreclosed properties the county foreclosed on, that there were excess proceeds. They're going to have a potential liability in the future to the previous homeowners. That was about $480,000, and those two kind of accounted for the significant increase in the general government. Public safety, so this is your sheriff's department, jail, that type of thing, budgeted $13.5 million. Actual came in 11.7 compared to 10.4 in the previous year, and there was some capital outlay this year that didn't happen last year. The other categories, recreation and culture, other functions, very similar to previous year, similar to what you had budgeted and expected for. Transfers out, this is where the money comes into the general fund, so your unrestricted funds, property taxes, state revenue, that type of thing. Some of those things are unrestricted and can be used for other funds, so the general fund will transfer money out to the other funds to help subsidize their operations. Budgeted 5.6 and actually transferred 5.3. So you take all that information in your revenues minus your expenditures is your net change in fund balance, which is, you see the first line here. The 2024 budget, you expected to have a $4.6 million decrease in fund balance. Because your revenues are up, expenses were down, you actually saw an increase in fund balance of $896,000. Okay, any questions so far on that?
Good numbers, yeah.
They're good numbers, yes. Okay, next we're going to look at your pension trust fund. So this is the money that has been set aside to fund the county and their component unit pensions, as well as BABH's pensions because they're part of the plan as well. This gives you a 3-year trend of what the assets and liabilities look like for this fund. Total assets at December 31st, 2024 was almost $428 million, up about $26 million from the prior year. And we'll see on the next page what made that go up. There's a few different liabilities, various liabilities. A lot of them have to do with securities trading and that type of thing. So you ended with a net position restricted for pension benefits of $426,748. Changes in fiduciary net position. So this is the inflows and outflows into the pension plan. You can see there the largest contributor to the increase is the net investment income. You had just over $44 million return on your investments during the year compared to about almost $45 million the previous year. In 2022, when the market was not doing well, you can see you had a decrease in value of almost $72 million. Contributions, the employer contributes just over $2 million, plan members almost $2.5 million. For total additions this year, 48.6 compared to just over 49 million the previous year. Deductions, most of this are pension benefits to the retirees, and then there's a little bit of administrative costs in there, but total deductions for 2024 was just under 24 million, up about 800,000 from 2023. So the change in net position, the net position increased 24,654,000 compared to the 25.8 in the prior year. So very well-funded plan, plenty of assets there. It's overfunded, as you'll see on a future slide, and we'll talk about that on the future slide. The VIVA Trust, this is the retiree healthcare plan. And again, this is for the county and its component units as well as BABH. This is a little bit smaller plan. Total assets of almost 104 million, up from 93.4 in the previous year. And this also has a restricted net position for the retiree benefits. So these assets in the VIBA and in the pension trust fund can't be used for any other purpose other than the retiree benefits that they're established for. The changes, increases and decreases into the trust fund this year. The investments had a $9.7 million return on the investments compared to 10.8 in the previous year and a $13 million loss in 2022. The employer contributed just under $5 million this year compared to just over $6 in 2023. And then deductions this year was 4.9, just almost $5 million, which is most of that goes to the retiree benefits, and then 4.4 in the previous year. So this plan had a $9.7 million increase in net position compared to 12.4 in the previous year. One item to note here, there were a few different departments within the plan that were allowed to start withdrawing and paying their retiree health care out of the trust because they're so well funded. So that is one new item in this year that happened during the year. So. The county has a policy, I guess, in case someone's not aware, the county has a policy that the vehicle plan had to get to a certain amount funded before they could start drawing from that to pay the benefits. So, oops, I didn't keep up. So the retirement system, so each year the actuary calculates what the total pension liability is based on various assumptions. That for this lags 1 year behind. So you can see this is December 31st, 2023, based on the timing of the actuarial evaluations. The total pension liability, this includes everybody except for BABH, so this is just the county and the component units. The total pension liability was $292 million. The plan net position, so basically the investment set aside to pay that liability, is $333,000. So the plan is overfunded by about $41 million. And 114%. So one thing to keep in mind, that sounds great. It is great to have your pension plan fully funded or overfunded, but you can see those swings in those investment returns that can happen each year. And that pension asset could swing the opposite way if the market takes a turn the wrong way. So very well-funded plan. You guys should be proud of that you've made sure the funds are there for your retirees to collect that in the future. Schedule of the county's contributions. Again, this is determined by the actuary on each year, or in each valuation each year. This does exclude BABH as well. The required contribution determined by the actuary was $925,000 for the 2024 fiscal year. The county actually contributed $1.3 million. So it contributed about $384,000 in excess of the required. Now, just keep in mind, there are some departments that are paying extra to try and get their department more funded because the plan itself is overfunded, but there are some departments that aren't as well funded as others. So that's why you see the county still putting in excess funds compared to what is required. The retiree health care excluding BABH, total liability calculated by the actuary is $73,727,000. Plan net position is $67.6 million. So this plan does have what's called a net OPEB, or retiree health care liability, of $6,058,000. The plan's just under 92% funded. So even though it's not 100% funded, it's still a very well-funded plan. And the funds will be there when the retirees draw on those benefits. So the required contributions for the retiree health care for 2024, the required contribution is $3,157,000. The county's actual contribution was $4,950,000, so about almost $1.8 million in excess of the required contribution, just to make sure that fund stays funded. So in addition to the financial statement audit that we performed what's called a single audit. This is required by the federal government anytime an entity expends more than $750,000 in federal awards. As you can see there, the county expended $6,445,000. So we performed a single audit which looks at the compliance. The federal government says you can have this bucket of money and this bucket of money, but it has to be spent in certain ways. The government wants to know that you spent it in accordance with those grant agreements, and that's what a single audit does. We looked at two what we call major programs this year. These are the two programs we audited out of the many the county receives. They are the two largest for the county. The first is the ARPA, or the Coronavirus State and Local Recovery Funds, as well as the Child Support Enforcement, which is the Title 4D program. Those are the two programs we audited this year for single audit compliance, and we did issue what's called an unmodified opinion on compliance related to that, which is another clean opinion, means the county expended those funds in accordance with the grant agreements. We did have one finding or comment in the single audit, and this had to do with the quarterly reporting for the ARPA funds. There is a quarterly expenditure report due to the federal government that says, here's where we're spending the money, here's where we think we're going to spend it in the future, and that gets submitted each quarter. And we identified one item that was reported incorrectly. It's already been fixed on a subsequent report, but we just need to note that it was initially reported incorrectly and subsequently fixed. Then as we go through the audit and single audit, we do look at internal controls. So these are checks and balances to ensure that there's the proper review and approval processes through the finance department to make sure that things are being recorded correctly in the correct period, the correct accounts, that type of thing. We just come up with one suggestion to help improve those internal controls, and it's just to ensure that every journal entry that is processed has a review and approval sign off on it to ensure that a second set of eyes is looking at it. We didn't find any issues at the county itself. This happens to be at the library, which is part of the county's audit as well, which is a similar comment we've had in the past. Just suggestion for them to kind of tighten that up a little bit better to improve those controls over there. 3 new standards coming. Nothing too significant coming up this year. GASB 102, which has to do with certain risk disclosures. 103, they're going to change the financial reporting, so this only has to do with the audit report you're going to get at the end of each year. There's going to be some visual changes to that of how that's presented. And then GASB 104 is disclosure of certain capital-related assets. So the county did implement GASB 101 in the current year, which had to do with how the county calculates and records the liability related to the accrued sick and vacation time of their employees. So that was one that was implemented during the year. It was quite a lift for the county. There's so many different employment contracts with different terms and conditions in them. So that is all I wanted to touch on today. I'm happy to address any questions, comments.
Are there any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from our panel? Comments? Yes.
just like to thank Scott and his team and all of our cabinet for having what I think is a very clean report. The only comment was involving the Bay County Library System, which is autonomous from
Yeah,
us.
the library has its own finance department, so it's not part of the county's, but the county is responsible for the library because it is part of the county. So yes, Scott and his group did another great job this year getting through the audit process. It's not a fun process for anybody, and they did well with it, so.
And Doug's team was terrific to work with. In fact, we got the audit in the day before the deadline, which was great. That was one of our goals this year. And I really can't take the credit. It's Tiffany's credit. She was the one filling in last year when we were missing a finance officer. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, thank you.
Any motion to receive it?
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, Bay County Care Facility update. Kyle Weidman. Welcome, Kyle.
It's good to be here before you all this afternoon. My name is Kyle Weidman. I'm the administrator and CEO at Bay County Medical Care Facility. I'm here with Jackie McCarthy, who is my CFO Finance Director. She'll also be providing some updates this afternoon as well. So we are excited to walk you through where we are, what we've accomplished, and where we're going. And today's presentation is about transparency, vision, and pride in the work that we do every single day. Let's see here. So a little bit about our agenda. We'll go over some recent changes and goals. Jackie will cover some financial updates, and then I will cover some of the nursing updates, and we'll show some of our testimonials as well. So about us. So Bay County Medical Care Facility, we are a 161-bed skilled nursing facility, and we are in Essexville. Our services go beyond basic care. We provide 24/7 skilled nursing. We provide rehab services, so that's physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We have physician services. We have wound care and more. Our residents are not acute. That's what you would see in the hospital, for example, but they do need a high level of medical attention, and that is what we are here for. Everything we do is grounded in dignity, respect, and purpose-driven care. Our core values are on this next slide, and they spell out the word care. So these core values are at the heart of everything that we do, and they are embedded into how we lead, how we train, and how we support our team members. Looking at our strategic plan, so we currently have 161 beds. We are operating today with 116. We are focused on sustainable growth, aligning with staffing and service quality. National trends are showing that long-term care, the demand for long-term care will increase, and we are preparing now. Some of the service line items that we have out there to help meet a changing patient need include what's called an Institutionalized Special Needs Plan, or abbreviated as an ISNP. The goal with that is to keep our residents from going out to the hospital and seeing what we can do to treat them in-house. So that's something we've started this year. We are also part of a provider-owned network. Unfortunately, there are some insurances that we do not have contracts with. But by joining this provider-owned network, the intent is to get contracts by being part of this group, and then that would broaden the access to care for the residents of Bay County. I wanted to talk about our construction a little bit. So construction restarted shortly after I joined the organization, which was in December of 2022. We have since completed our construction project. Our physical space has been modernized. Our key upgrades and updates include an on-site dialysis den, which minimizes resident transportation and improves their outcomes. We have new private suites and some bariatric suites as well. We've also enhanced common areas and our infrastructure, and we invite you all to come out and see some of the changes that we have made. I want to talk a little bit about some staffing. So in 2024, we underwent a project to right-size our staffing structure. It was not a decision that was made lightly, but one that was based on financial realities and census shifts that the organization was experiencing. Our goals were to maintain excellent care and staffing ratios, protect our 5-star staffing, and to stabilize financially, which we have. We are projected to save $4.7 million annually after completing our right sizing. At this time, there are no further reductions planned. Our focus is on retention, consistency, and development. And then our future. So the pandemic challenged us, but it did most places. We remain strong and forward-thinking. Through disciplined financial management, we are setting ourselves up to withstand future challenges. We invest into what matters, and that is our people, our services, and our systems. And we are committing to being a leading force for long-term care in Bay County. I want to touch briefly on some initiatives that we're taking for marketing. So we have expanded our reach with the addition of Jennifer Davis. She is our Business Development Director. Our marketing now reaches beyond some of our traditional sources, which we had been doing. Some of the key efforts include expanding our community tours. We have our annual car show, which is on August 21st. And then we have TV commercials, which I believe just started airing this week on WNEM TV5, along with some strategic billboard placements throughout Bay County. The message remains simple, that we are here and ready to serve. This next slide will showcase some of the photos of our community. So we have the new on-site dialysis den. It is now actually a training site for any new dialysis techs or nurses through Heritage Dialysis, which is our partners in providing that service. We have some of our new private suites highlighted in the lower left-hand corner there. In the middle, we have the ribbon cutting, which highlighted our dialysis den opening earlier this year. We have our annual golf outing, which will be later, and then our annual car show as well. Next up, I believe we have Jackie.
Hello. I've been with the care facility since June of 2021. Been a CPA for many years. I also worked for 5 years at the Bay County Road Commission as their finance director. Kyle mentioned some of the advertising. It's been a minute. We were all excited. We were sitting in the office today or standing there, and the TV commercial came on in the lobby for the first time, so it was exciting to be able to see that. And we'll be doing some quarterly, a little bit longer sessions and some of the morning news programs too on WNEM. So okay. So on just a summary of our financials, Raymond also does Doug Dieter does our audit also. So just summarize a little bit of some of the key items here. We were very strong at the end of 2024 with our net assets of $47 million, net position of $36 million. And then for our income statement, our operating revenues were $17 million, and we had a net increase in net position of $6.5 million. And the graphs kind of show the breakdown between the main categories of our revenue and expense. Next one here. Then just a little summary here. I showed our unqualified opinion, which is the strongest opinion that we were able to achieve. This is then the section on the right is just a summary of where our 2025 budget is at. We requested an 8% cut across all departments, and we were able to achieve projected revenue increases of close to 14% and expense reductions from the prior year of close to 3%. And we're just starting our 2026 planning right now. We just sent everything out yesterday to all the departments. We're gonna have our meetings in early August. And we had a lot of tightening up of many, many areas. We're requesting still an additional 3% for everybody to try to reduce their costs by and come up with new ways, more efficient ways to do things. As of right now in 2025, through the end of May, we're working on closing June right now. We have $36 million in our net position, $8.7 million of working capital. So again, very strong. We were able to pay for everything to complete our construction project with no financing, no debt. You know, everything has been paid, and we just have a little bit left to pay for some of the retention on the project. But we do have some big projects, not big, but some items that are needing to be done in the next year or two in terms of new elevators, elevator repair, roof repair. So a few things like that are still in the works also. That was my summary.
Thank you. And then to cover the nursing update, our director of nursing was unavailable to join us. So I mentioned our 5-star staffing. We're proud to maintain a 5-star staffing rating, which is set by CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. This reflects our staffing levels and consistency of care. This is a key quality metric that families, regulatory agencies, and partners will look at. We were able to protect that rating even through our operational changes that we've made. Our acuity and care complexity, we continue to accept and care for some very complex residents in our region, and many of our residents have significant medical needs. Our nursing team has shown incredible professionalism in handling high acuity cases, including those who require dialysis, some who are bariatric care, and some who have complex wound management. And then in regards to our survey, so we have an annual survey that's conducted by the state of Michigan. We have been making big improvements on our survey outcomes as well. We had our last survey in April of this year, and we had 5 citations. We are seeing fewer citations, and we are seeing low scope and severity of these citations as well. It takes time to move the star rating, but we are heading in the right direction. And on this slide here, we'll have some of the testimonials from our recent residents. So on the left-hand side, what it says is, my name is Peggy and I recently underwent shoulder surgery. After my surgery, I needed rehabilitation and remembered my experience at BCMCF from 2 years ago. So I requested to go back there for my recovery. I was particularly excited to learn that they offered dialysis at BCMCF because this meant that I could focus on my therapy without the added stress of leaving the building for dialysis, which would have left me too exhausted to fully participate in my recovery. When I arrived, it was wonderful to see many familiar faces in the dialysis area at BCMCF. I recognized the staff and appreciated their extensive experience. They are very caring and ensured that I was comfortable as possible throughout my treatment. The new wing that has been added is beautiful. I love the clean, modern amenities. The staff took excellent care of me during my stay. I highly recommend BCMCF and Heritage Dialysis for anyone in need of similar services. The one in the middle, something similar. They met a lot of great people. The staff are wonderful, and I would recommend this place to everyone. It is a 5-star in my eyes. From the moment I walked into the facility, staff were welcoming, patient with my needs, and easy to work with during my therapy sessions. I've had experience with other nursing homes, and nothing compares. And finally, on the right-hand side, we have a testimonial from somebody who has been a resident of ours for many years. She used to go out for dialysis care and would sometimes miss her treatments, but since having it on site, she has only missed one, and that was her choice. And she is saying that she really sees a difference in herself and what she's been able to do. She's lost weight, she feels better, she's been able to go out into the dining room and enjoy that time with her fellow residents as well. So we're seeing differences in our community, and we're happy with the changes that we've been making out there. So that's what we have.
Is there any questions from the commissioners?
Kathy?
Yes. How many private rooms do you have?
That is an excellent question. I believe we are somewhere in the 40s for private rooms, but I will confirm that with you for the exact number.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there any other questions?
Yes.
You're at 116 right now?
Operating with 116 beds
And
currently.
161 is your max?
Is our total licensure, correct.
Okay.
Yep, so what that means is we have a unit right now that's currently closed. So we have that in a non-available bed plan. Those beds are still sitting there, but we're not using them for our resident care.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that part of how you were able to save the 4.8 million? Is
So a lot of
that unit, or?
So a lot of the savings that we're seeing were simply made through some staffing adjustments that we've made there. Closing the unit, that can have some impact on the finances. The goal for nursing homes is to be as close as you can be to 85% occupancy to receive full reimbursement. So with current census trends that we had been experiencing, we're doing our best to maintain as close as possible to 85%. Yep.
And that's why you're doing the marketing?
That's why we're doing the marketing, yes, absolutely, that's correct. We've run into several people from Bay County that, where they come out, whether they provide a service or whatever the case may be, and I've asked them, well, have you heard about us? And sometimes, because where we're at, we're right by the golf course and the juvenile home, of course, and so sometimes people feel that our community facility is attached to the juvenile home, that we're one system, for example. They may not understand fully that the medical care facility is a separate building out there. So we're doing more community awareness. In fact, tomorrow we have a networking breakfast with several healthcare providers throughout Bay County, and we have over 60 RSVPs at this point. So we're getting our name out there for sure.
Excellent, good job.
Yes, thank you so much.
Jim, got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Kyle and Jackie, for the update and compliment you on how you've kind of turned things around there in short order.
Thank you.
With your leadership and working together, and I know the morale is among the staff that I talked to is much higher.
Great.
I just had one question. I know that it was painful, but you had staff reductions, but I was very impressed with how you worked with the staff that was being laid off.
Sure.
To help them stay in the career path that they were on. Were most of your staff that were laid off, were they absorbed into nursing homes in the area?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, Jen.
The feedback I got was, it wasn't too hard to find another position because they're always
Good.
in need. So I think most of the people landed on their feet in another facility.
In another area. Good, I'm glad to hear that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And by the way, Kyle, I've known Kyle for a few years. When he first got on, the care facility was doing negative. It was in the red. And with his leadership and with Jackie and the rest of the staff, they made drastic changes in there. From a negative $1 million to a $4 million positive, I say thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
You've done a tremendous job, especially the dialysis center. That's a great improvement at that facility, and I'm glad you guys, because we used to transport your patients to the dialysis, and I've talked to several of them, and they said that they feel at home. They go from the room to the dialysis center, do their 2 or 3 hours, and they go back, instead of being transported in the vehicle back and forth. So they're very grateful.
Good.
And I'm hearing a lot of positive stuff out there, what you guys been doing.
Great.
So continue doing what you're doing.
We will.
Thank
Yes,
you
we
so
will.
much.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Flyers for our golf meeting on September 27th and our August 21st car show. You my old handy classmate, Chris Rose, to pass
Okay.
around. We'd love to see you and give you a tour.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. That motion's in order to receive.
Move to receive.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, seeing none, motion carries. Okay, our next one, our resolution number 2025-128, honoring Luke LaCourse, 2025 Mr. Baseball recipient. Luke's not here, is he? You want to read that out? No? Yeah, please, do that.
Resolution by the Bay County Board of Commissioners, whereas Luke LaCourse, a 2025 graduate of Bay City Western High School, was named Mr. Baseball by the Michigan High School Baseball Coaches Association, one of the highest honors in Michigan high school sports. And whereas with a remarkable record of 31-7, 1.67 ERA, and 340 strikeouts over 4 varsity seasons, along with multiple All-State and Dream Team selections, he has demonstrated exceptional talent, leadership, and commitment. And whereas Luke's contributions helped lead Bay City Western to a 35-8 season, an SVL championship, and consecutive Division I Final Four appearances. And whereas a commitment to Michigan State University and an invitation to the MLB Draft Combine title reflect his continued athletic and academic success. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bay County Board of Commissioners congratulates Luke LaCourse on being named 2025 Mr. Baseball and commends him for bringing great pride to Bay County.
Any question? Motion to receive? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve. Support.
I just want to say, I want to thank Luke because I'm a Western alumni back in '81. And back in '81, we had state champs for wrestling. We had the LaFron boys, Rex Steiners, Rugensteins, with Malins. We have all the top ones back then. Now they're turning to the baseball and basketball. A few years ago, there was one of the students there was Mr. Basketball from Bay City Western. So I just want to congratulate Luke and the rest of the team. And it's, graduated from Western, so. And yes.
One addition to this, not exactly late-breaking news, but as of yesterday, Luke was drafted in the MLB draft by the Los Angeles Angels.
I heard something I heard that up. It was him, right?
Yes.
Congratulations to Luke.
He was going to go to Michigan
That's
State.
an honor. Yes, thank you.
We both.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries. Okay, resolution number 2025-129, Bay County's opposition to the MDHHS Behavioral Health Procurement Plan. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think, Lindsay, if I push this button, I will go to my, no, I won't. Let's see. I've got it in there somewhere. Well, I'm going to have to, I'll do it a cappella. That's fine. So I wanted to update the commission on two things. First, I was here a few months ago, and I always come and ask you for a resolution on something, and they're always like, oh, another resolution. So we came a few months ago, and I want to give you an update on that one. And then second, I have another resolution, so that you don't get bored, that I want you to consider tonight or in a future meeting. So first up is the resolution that we had to consider in April was about the fact that there was about $250 million in our appropriation for mental health services that the department was not pushing out, the Department of Health and Human Services. It was approved by the budget. It was in the legislature. They put it through. And that's been a problem for about 3 years. They've essentially held back about $600 million that's been appropriated. And their argument for holding it back is, well, you don't need it. And we're sending reports showing the number of people we're getting in, the deficit, some of it's running up at the county level. Well, you don't need it. You don't need it. So we got a lot of good support from the House Appropriations Committee, which includes our Representative Beeson. We got good support from some of our other bipartisan representatives. So the department has said they would push out some more of that money rather than waiting and giving it to Treasury or whatever else they want to do with it, and actually appropriate for what the legislature appropriated it for, which is kind of what's in the law. So we're positive. Thank you for passing that resolution. Internet County did the same thing. Several other counties in Michigan. I think we probably had half the counties pass resolutions on that. So that was a positive sign. So that leads into today. So today I wanted to talk to you because in the meantime, the Department of Health and Human Services has decided they want to upend 63 years of practice between the state and the county, and they want to bring in a commercial entity to manage the local mental health funds. So there's a couple of problems with that. The first problem is it's inconsistent with state law. You know, I know that gets it. There you go. There you go. That's the, I'm going to show this. That's perfect. Perfect. This is all we have right now that's been released officially by the department. It's a listing of their plans to do an open procurement. And if you go through this list, you'll see several of the things that they're citing as what they want to accomplish from this are contrary to existing state law. So first up is they don't want mental health agencies like a county agency to have any kind of governance on the payer. Okay. For 63 years, we've always had governance on the payer because the counties are one of the payers. At one point, the county was 25% of the payer. Now we're 10%. But we've always had a role in governance because in some counties north of M20, there is no other provider. So the county provider was the only provider. So the county commission always had some say in governance because they funded the services. They hired the CEO of the organization, and that organization was the county department. So this would be like saying we don't want you to have input in the sheriff's department. But it's still Bay County, and they're accountable to you guys, but you don't have any input. You'll be fine. So that's the first thing that we didn't like because that runs contrary to state law. The second thing we didn't like is the department started bringing up some what I believe are misleading or outright dishonest issues related to the fact that there's not an open procurement for this system. Well, there's never been an open procurement for this system. It was a state and county relationship. The state under the Constitution transferred the responsibility for mental health care to the counties. They had 47 state hospitals back in 1950, and we housed 29,000 people in Michigan. They closed all those, transferred those folks to the community, and then created county mental health agencies at the county level to provide the supports for those folks, to be the backstop. That's the system we've had in place. Where it's gotten a little complicated since 1980 is there's so much money now in healthcare, and so much of what we do parallels what healthcare provides, although I would argue that the long-term supports that we provide for people with disabilities and severe mental illness is very different from what's provided by commercial entities, because historically that has not been a commercial opportunity for healthcare to insurers to move into, serving the most in need with the highest. It's not a real good return on investment, because folks are needy, they have a lot of care needs. So our system in Michigan and the Medicaid system has grown over the last 40 years basically to fill a gap in the healthcare market. And that's one of the reasons why you've seen so much defense of Medicaid at the federal level. I mentioned this to my board back in 2017. They were going to get rid of the ACA. That's gone. All those people are gone. And they were going to block grant Medicaid. And they couldn't get the votes. This time, they were a lot smarter about it, and what they did is they focused on the fact that so many people depend on Medicare long-term, like nursing homes, like us, long-term supports, that it's not really a commercial, it's a community social support for people that are in need, who are going to land on the county's doorstep if their needs aren't met. So I'm pleased at the national level, although I didn't necessarily agree with all the changes that went through. There were positives that they protected Medicaid and the core Medicaid responsibilities of the most disabled. I thought that was great. And so now the last thing I want is our unelected leader of the Department of Health and Human Services in Lansing to decide, oh, well, we'll just go ahead and make the changes we want to make anyway. And then we'll blame it on that bill that passed in Washington last year on, oh, it's all this Medicaid stuff. I mean, you have to be a blind person to not see that that's the direction this is going, because I believe that what's happened is there's been a lot of promises on the state budget about the money that's been unspent, and they want to hoard as much as they can to give to other people, and they think they can take some out of the county system. And that's not the first time they've targeted the counties for that. I mean, the state and the counties have a historical relationship going back to 1837 when the state was incorporated, that it involves this kind of give and take sometimes. So in this particular instance, the department's initial procurement goes against what's in state law. Currently, state law requires that this be a system that's separate from the general health care system. That's because in commercial entities, the behavioral health and mental health and substance use money is usually absorbed by the larger product lines and profit lines in healthcare, cardiology and other types of surgery, other types of things. So mental health tends to become an afterthought. So our state decided, with Senator Barsha in the Senate at the time, that we were going to maintain a separate system. We'd use Medicaid, but we would protect it from being absorbed into general health care. We would protect this system that's been built on the 83 counties. So this procurement plan says, oh, well, we're just going to give that to some commercial entity. In fact, they even pick out, can I move this now? Let me see if I can move this. I'm going to go back here. Let's just see. They even decide, okay, it's not going back. I want to go back. There you go. Can you guys see that? They've decided that we used to have 83 counties with that would create their mental health program, and then we had 18 mental health regional entities, which Bay Neck was one years ago. Now we're down to 10. Now they want to just have 3. So see that central region with 44 counties? That's where 97% of our Bay Neck money would go to, and they would decide of the 44 counties who gets it. So I have a problem with that. My first problem is that anytime anybody takes 97% of your money, you're done. I don't care what a good job you do. But the second thing is when you take public resources that are critical to the local communities and you remove the accountability back to that community, you create a moral hazard for whoever's managing the funds, because they don't live in that community, they have no accountability to that community. And what you get in those kind of, I mean, think about it with the sheriff. If all the sheriff's funding for Bay County Sheriff was now managed by a commercial entity out of Austin, Texas, do you think they're going to be as concerned about road patrol coverage in Essexville or in Bay County that maybe this commission is? If they have no accountability back to those, to the electorate or those constituents, what you're going to get is you're going to get decisions made by individuals who don't live in Bay County, who don't have any investment in Bay County, and you're going to get what we got with the Flint water. You're going to get people who make decisions who don't live there, Well, I don't think it'll poison them. They told me, the people I paid to tell me it's not going to poison them told me it wasn't going to poison them. Or even worse, the Sanford Dam. All those people who, in Wixom Lake and Sanford, that dam was managed by a private company that didn't necessarily have any investment in that community, which is one of the reasons why they let the repairs go. Well, guess what happened? The dam blew up, and everybody lost a lot of their houses, their homes, their value. The people involved just, well, we'll just declare bankruptcy. The courts will protect us with bankruptcy. I guarantee you, if the guy who owned Boyce Hydro had lived in Wixom Lake, he would have been a little more concerned about the dam and his neighbors. I mean, if he'd have lived there and they were his neighbors, that's essentially what I'm telling you related to this, is the decisions have to be made about care for the most disabled at the local level, because anybody who falls through the cracks, whether it's substance abuse or mental health, they end up on the county's doorstep. That's always been the case. They don't leave. So when the 97% of the money goes somewhere else, our residents are most disabled in Bay County don't go with that money. They stay here. And their problems fall on the community and fall on the county. So that's why we've always had a strong county presence in the mental health system, because our counties are ultimately are accountable to those people and their families because they're their neighbors. And they want them to do well. It's not a business relationship. It's a constituent relationship. So that's what we're at risk of losing, and I think that's a mistake. So I'm asking the commission to consider, I did draft a resolution. Now, all fairness, 3 of the commissioners are on my board, just so you know, and they told me to draft a resolution and bring to the county. So everybody know that right now. I'm just doing my job. And we did have one of our committees review it, and if it's okay, Mr. Chair, I would walk through that real quick with you if you want to hear it, or if you don't want to hear it, it's up to you.
It's up to you.
I try to get the page up, but you've seen how successful I've been with that so far. All right, let's see. Oh, go backwards. There you go. Yep, keep going, go past the map. There you go. Okay. That's the second part of it. I'm just going to walk through the highlights for our commissioners, because I know some of you guys aren't as exciting about mental health as I am, or Jim is. So I just wanted to point that out. So the resolution starts very similar to the one on the funding that you approved back in April, pointing out that Bay County was the first of the 12 counties in Michigan that formed a community mental health center back in 1963. There's 12 out of the 83, and we were one of them. And then in 2001, the commission decided to create an authority, so they transferred what, at that point, we were a county department, just like public health is, or the sheriff is. We were, authority was created in 2001 to manage the funding for the Medicaid. Under the current mental health code, none of this has been changed. In fact, the department in their bid procurement, even though several of the things they've mentioned contradict existing state law, they don't have to change the law. We don't have to change it, we can just do it. We don't have to talk to the legislature. I mean, so what, it's going to impact 83 counties and 250,000 people? Why do we talk to the legislature? Can't we just decide? Oh, and we're leaving office next year. Well, we'll just rush it through, right? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Isn't that democracy? We'll just rush it through. So as you can see, I'm a little irritated by that. So under the code, and this is all existing law, the state shifts the responsibility for public mental health services to the county mental health programs. Second, the state is obligated to financially support community mental health programs that the counties create. Only the counties can create them. And as long as we meet the general standards that the state sets, they're obligated to financially support them. We're obligated as a county mental health program to provide a 24/7 array of services, a comprehensive array, to the most disabled people in our community. So we can't just offer counseling and medication, because we'd be violating the law. Because treatment for people with severe disabilities and mental illness goes far beyond just counseling and medication. So we have to have enough presence to meet that obligation, which means we have to have some scale. And at the end of the day, the state is required to support any of our expenditures that are necessary to carry out our operations. And that's still an existing law. How you take 97% of that funding and give it to somebody else with no accountability back to those entities, and that you guarantee that they'll financially support them, I'm having a hard time with that concept, but I am a social work major, to be fair, not a business major. I also want to point out we serve over 5,000 people a year, Bay and Arnett County residents. By changing this procurement process, they're upending 63 years of practice and existing state law, which we don't think is a good idea. As I mentioned earlier, all these issues will still ultimately land on the county because the people in the county who are disabled who depend on these services won't be able to leave with the money. They're going to be here. There's no way around it. Whereas, and if you want to strike this, as a commission, I'm putting a little bit of red meat in here. Unelected commercial interests far removed from Bay and Aranet counties will not be better advocates for the citizens of Bay County than their elected representatives and their neighbors. I honestly believe that's true. It's the whole concept underlying local control. It's the underlying, your neighbors are the ones who are accountable to you for shared services, not the king, not somebody far away who's unelected. It's your neighbors. The idea being that your neighbors, will try to do you right because you're a part of the community. I also think that it's important to point out that not only does it violate some existing state and federal requirements, I think it's important that we encourage the department to continue to support the carve-out, to support the separation of the specialty services from general health care, because once that goes into general health care, you're going to start to see a slow ebb on all mental health services. And I would ask that if you pass a resolution that you copy it, the county itself copy it to both our congressional delegation in Lansing. Unfortunately, we don't have a state senator, but we do have Representative Beeson. We have Senator Huizinga up north who covers a little bit, I think, of North Bay County, the governor, and all the counties. Because if it comes from you guys, if it comes from the commission, it'll mean something. And MAC will support this. They're behind opposing this as much as possible. And they're probably the ones, along with the counties, that'll make the difference.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris. Is there any questions from the board?
They're like afraid to ask because they don't know what I'll say.
Okay. Jim, you got a question?
Just a comment. Chris, thanks for your leadership and also explaining so well how important accountability is. We have 3 board members that serve, also some of your providers and former clients.
Yes.
Also who provide oversight over your agency, and that's as good as it gets. We don't want our resources being shared in a huge region in which we won't have accountability.
Yeah, unless we
and
have.
So you highlighted the importance of the resolution very well.
Thank you,
and
Jim.
also the success of your effort to resist what the attempt is.
Yeah, the code has always required we have consumers and families on our board involved in governance. Because they won't, the idea being they will treat other consumers and families fair. Not that our elected officials won't, but that they will bring that voice that's missing. The procurement plan doesn't even meet the minimum of what's required now of the CMH agencies. So I'm glad Jim pointed out another reason why I think it's a problem. So thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve is in order.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposing, none, motion carries. Okay, number D, Golden Horizons for the year 2026 funding application of Region 7 Area Agency of Aging.
Move to approve.
Motion to receive.
Support.
Or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, say none, motion carries. Okay, City of Bay City, application for obsolete property rehab exemption district for 201 South Lynch Street.
Motion to receive. Support.
Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries. And number 2, an application for the obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate for 201 South Lynch Street. It's a different one.
Support.
Any discussion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries. Number 3, application for industrial facilities tax exemption district for certificate for Straits Wood Treating Incorporated, located at 4804 East Wilder Road.
Motion to receive. Support.
Is there any discussion, questions? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Reports and resolutions of committees. The Committee of the Whole on July 1st was canceled and related to the Board of Commissioners meeting, and Committee of the Whole on July 8th was also canceled and moved to the Board of Commissioners. So Commissioner Creep, would you do the honors?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2025-130, resolution to authorize the issuance of not to exceed $15,280,000 principal amount of Bay County Water Supply System bonds. I move this resolution.
Support.
Is there any discussion, questions? We have somebody here from the Water Department, if you, yes.
Yeah, my name is Ryan Goebel. I'm the director of the Bay County Department of Water and Sewer. Our water plant averages about 7 million gallons of water a day. On a day like today, it's pretty hot. We're probably pushing 9 million gallons a day. The plant is 10 years old, does a great job. The concern is that we don't have a lot of water storage on site, so we've got 2 million gallons of water storage. We got a problem in our treatment. We're going to run out of water pretty quick. So this project is to have build 2 5 million gallon water tanks. Then if we have a problem, we've got 24 hours of water plus, and we'll be able to fix it and we won't have any problems. To pay for these bonds that we're asking for, we have a capital improvement charge that's part of the water rates. It's incorporated in the wholesale water rate. Every resident pays this when they pay their water bill. Doesn't matter which township or city they live in. That money is set aside for improvements in our water system. We've crunched the numbers, and the money we're bringing in, or we're set to bring in over the next 2 decades, we'll be able to fund these tanks without raising rates. So we're already going to be bringing in the money to pay for this. It makes all the sense in the world for us to increase our storage. Just more resiliency at our plant.
Okay. Any questions for Ryan? Thank you, Ryan, for explaining it. The motion has been made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-131, Annual Implementation Plan, AIP for fiscal year 2026, Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. I move this resolution.
Support.
Okay, motion has been made and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-132, DFA 26-09003, Agreement Home Aid Position. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution number 2025-133, resolution to authorize post-retirement court testimony compensation for eligible former employees. I actually move that we withdraw this resolution.
Support.
Motion is made to withdraw and supported. Any discussion? Yes, Jesse?
If I may, why are we withdrawing it?
Yes, Amber?
It's unnecessary. We've already authorized, so it's duplicative.
It's redundant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-134, uniform policy for commissioners and commission staff. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-135, ARPA clarification for staff wages and fringe benefits. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Yes, Jesse?
Just want to confirm, we can reallocate those ARPA funds into staff wages for these particular projects legally?
Yeah, we just put the same project, but
Okay.
we didn't put staff wages in there, so we just added that.
Gotcha. Okay, just making sure. I know they're pretty strict on that particular grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-136, CPBC agreement, fiscal year 2025-2026. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-137, agreement with My Sidewalk Incorporated for community health assessment. I move this resolution.
Support.
A motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-138, agreement with Certified Diabetes Educator 2025. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-139, amendment to resolution number 2025-74, authorization of budget adjustment for 2025 GIS ortho imagery project. I move this resolution.
Support.
A motion has been made, supported. Is there any discussion, questions? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-140, ratified collective bargaining agreements. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion was made and supported. Is there any questions, comments? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-141, payables. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Any discussion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-142, reports of county executive, May 2025. I move this resolution.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-143, invitation for bid. I have for fleet fuel card service providers. I move this resolution.
A motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion, questions? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Item 15, analysis of general fund equity 2025. I move to receive.
Support.
Is there any questions? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Item 16, update regarding executive directive number 2007-11. I move to receive.
Support.
Is there any, a motion has been made and supported. Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Item 17, Office of Assigned Council reports for February, March, April, and May. I move to receive.
Support.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, see none, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Crate. Reports for county officials. County Executive,
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you,
Marshall.
Mr. Chair, I don't have much to report, but I do want to compliment our team negotiating the contracts. I understand that's going very well, and, our construction is going up out at the Art Van site with our new Bay County Health Services facility. Walls are going up, activity in there, so we're pleased with that. And again, there should be a robust engagement with the animal shelter within a few weeks.
Very good.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Any commissioners' comments? Is there any unfinished business? Any new business? Any public input? This is the time for second public input. Anyone wishing to address the committee? Going once, going twice. Public input is closed. Any miscellaneous? Any announcements? Yes.
The Bay County Fair has an opening ceremony July the 29th at noon, and all the commissioners are invited, and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I just got one. Today, Mr. Barsha and myself was at the presentation in Bangor Township. The Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy opened up a 340-acre natural area off of Patterson Road. They used to be the old Dow viewing area. That's a big plus for Bangor Township and for Bay County. They're going to have, how many miles? It's going to be, there's, I forgot what it said in here. Anyways, we were there, the ribbon cutting, and Jim spoke. 200 acres of restored prairie and other acres, 3.29 miles of natural surface trails, and it's going to have viewing like birding. Everybody knows about the birding. The birders come in from all around the country. I've met some people from New Zealand up in Tawas at the state park. They come from all over. So once they find out what's going on here, they're coming here. Tourism is going to pick up because it's a big thing nowadays, birding. So, yeah, so there's a lot of things out there, and we're very proud to have Saginaw Bay Basin Lands Conservancy opening up another wetland, not wetland, but a nature preserve for us in that area. Off of Bangor Road, there was 100 and some acres there that was purchased by, I think, Huron Conservancy Group. That's going to be natural preserve also. So that's not going to be any houses in there, so that's a plus, so. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. October, we have a couple appointments coming up. Board of Canvassers, Bay County Department of Human Services, and Land Bank Authority. Amber, is there a need for closed session?
There is, Mr. Chair. You'll see noted on your agenda that there is a request for a closed session for 3 purposes. Subsection C is not necessary. The settlement that was anticipated from the Treasurer's Office has been delayed, so we are not requesting to go into closed session for that purpose. We are requesting to go into closed session, a joint closed session for 2 purposes. The first is for Corporation Counsel. I'm requesting that the board go into closed session to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with the Ware versus Bay County et al. Matter in accordance with MCL 15.2681E, and also by the Personnel Director requesting to enter into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.2681C for strategy and negotiation sessions connected to the negotiation of collective bargaining agreements with either negotiating party requesting a closed hearing. The parties necessary for closed session for both of those purposes are the same. They are the Finance Officer, Corporation Counsel, the Board Coordinator and the Board Advisor, the County Executive, and the County Clerk in addition to the Board. So that can be a joint closed session. I would request a motion to go into closed session for those purposes.
I make that motion that we go into closed session for those purposes.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, need a roll call vote.
Roll call, yeah, roll call, please.
Okay, Beeson.
Larry.
Larry, we need you.
Larry.
We're doing a roll call vote. So Beeson?
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I forgot my hearing aids.
No.
Yes. Here.
Yes.
Rupp?
Yes.
Yes.
Doggett?
Yes.
Preet?
Yes.
Nemeth? Bigig? Benajik?
Yes. Support. Motion's been made, supported. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, seeing none, motion carries. And what's the last one?
Move to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.